inviting me to give a short presentation about what is NFDI, the National Research Data Infrastructure. First, I'm going to share my slides. So I hope you can see the slides as of now. Does it work?
Yes,
Yep.
Go right ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you. So what is NFDI? Well, let's start with our vision. Data as a common good for excellent research organized by science in Germany. And this brings it all together in a nutshell. I'm not telling you much more than this vision, really. But if you catch this, you're on track, so to speak. NFDI is a large-scale endeavor where about 1,000 people are currently working in this initiative, distributed in a network of cooperating partners and so-called consortia, and has a funding period of 10 years. So it's really a long-going endeavor. And currently we are starting discussions on how to proceed after that funding period in 2029. So I think we are well on track. And of course, it's quite aligned with activities that you are pursuing in RDA. And that's probably a good reason for being here today. This vision of NFDI, data as a common good for excellent research, has been worked out by our network partners over the past year. And actually, this is the first step in being more strategic, or it was the first step in being more strategic. So along with that vision, we also formulated a mission. And as of now, we also formulated a strategy on how to achieve this actually. And the goals for funding NFDI contribute towards this vision. It's building up a network information infrastructure and research data management, so very concrete. It's establishing standardized processes for research data management. It's developing a sustainable portfolio of services and metadata standards. It's, of course, connecting with European platforms, in particular, the European Open Science Cloud. But also, of course, related to works in RDA, and it's strengthening the subsequent use of existing data. Plus, we want to contribute to the integrity, quality, and the protection of data. This is really bringing owls to Athens, speaking at RDA. The organizational structure is as follows. We are a so-called association, and in this association, we have 5 organs. And within these organs, of course, in Germany, the most important one is the members' assembly, where we have almost 280 organizational members, and that is throughout Germany, all kinds of different research organizations. So from big universities to small universities, from Fraunhofer institutes to Helmholtz centers, to smaller partners like another association, the GFBU, in the area of biodiversity. So the members' assembly is really core and central to all associations in Germany. Then we have the directorate, which I am co-heading with the administrative director, Eva Lübke. In the directorate, we are about 20 people now, including student workforce, and we are organizing the collaboration and coordination across the whole network. Then, where most of the content work in our network is being done, is the so-called consortia assembly. And you might have heard about the NFDI consortia. So NFDI for biodiversity, for example, is a consortium with respect to biodiversity. NFDI for culture, NFDI for for engineering, NFDI, and so on and so forth. And we have 26 of these consortia which are domain specific. They all work together in going towards our vision. Then there's one special case. This is not really a consortium, it's an alliance. It's a so-called Base for NFDI alliance, where so-called basic services are being established. And this has to do with things like identity and access management, which then, of course, can be picked up by all the NFDI services from the NFDI portfolio. Or we are working on a terminology server, and of course, we are reusing and extending the PID infrastructure for assigning PIDs to research data. Then we have 2 more strategically oriented organs. One is the Scientific Senate. These now are personal memberships. And I'm, as a director of NFDA, I'm also the lead of the Scientific Senate. There, 12 more people assisting me in formulating the strategy for the association and discussing what is the future actually of our network. And last but not least, we have the so-called board. And here, members from politics, the German state in particular, the state and the federal states are being represented, but also people from academia coming from the network. And those 9 personal members actually steer the financial matters of the association. And also there present is the federal state, which is our key funding agency for the whole network. In addition, we have so-called departments, and we have as departments 2 kinds of different departments. One are the consortia and one are sections. And the consortia I briefly introduced, you will find the names of the before mentioned consortia here also in this nice little ring, but you will also find the names of the other 26 consortia. I should translate it in the middle. So it's nature sciences, life sciences, engineering, and of course, social science and humanities. And as you can see, the distribution over these topics is kind of balanced within the consortia. But having said that, this is a very simplistic picture. For example, if you look at engineering sciences and material sciences, there's a crossover to nature sciences. So it's not really always just one domain in which a consortium is active. The base for NFDI, as I said, is kind of a special initiative. And currently we have 3 services who are quite advanced. Those are these 3. Then we have 3 more followers, and we have a number of more proposals on the table. And this is really to achieve a national-wide identity and access management. The DFN, Deutsche Forschungsnetzwerk, is the key lead in this endeavor. And this ensures that this activity is well aligned with GIANT and with activities on the European level, where, of course, we are also aiming towards a European identity and access management infrastructure. And we want to be well aligned here. Then there are a number of PID services out there, like DataSite, for example. And we are not creating something new here, but we are collaborating with people like DataSite and others. So to have the best possible services for the NFDI services, so it becomes more seamless to have PIDs attached to the research data. It is already possible, but we want to make it as seamless as possible. Last but not least, the third service I'd like to mention is the terminology service. And this is because if you think about the FAIR principles, then of course the first 2 things, it's PIDs and metadata, which are being attached to research data. And here we have a server to host a collection of metadata schemata, which then can be reused, hopefully very easily, to annotate research data. We want to connect internationally, as I said, within the European Open Science Cloud. And we as NFDI are the so-called mandated member for Germany. That means we are representing Germany within the EOSC. And our goal is to be a bridge between the European initiative and what we are doing in the German endeavor NFDI. In total, EOSC has about 250 members. 28 of them are so-called mandated organizations like we are. And what is quite nice is that we will have the EOSC Symposium this year in Berlin. And we use this opportunity to have a kind of a co-joint initiative where NFDI meets EOSC. So we bring together these 2 communities. Actually, there's quite a big overlap of people who are active in both areas. But there's also still a lot of people who don't know exactly what is doing NFDI on the EOSC level and vice versa in NFDI what is doing EOSC. And since EOSC is now progressing quite good, I would say it's a good time. It's an opportunity and a good time window to bring these communities closer together, because at the end of the day, it's about data sovereignty and better access to research data in both organizations. Last year, we had a number of highlights, and I would like to show especially one. And this was the first conference on research data infrastructure, shortly abbreviated CORDI, which we organized in Karlsruhe. Over 700 people actually registered, so we had full house, and almost 700 actually showed up, which was a no-show rate of under 10%, which was really incredible after all these years of Corona without really physical conferences. Everybody in our network said, this is a really cool thing to do. And yes, let's go to this conference. So we invited to the conference and basically all people came. That was really cool. What you're seeing also is a picture from our members or General Assembly, our members assembly, which was preceding the conference, and also a picture from the Consortia Assembly, which was happening right after the conference. We would like to continue this Cordi conference, and in 2025, there will be the next event. We are currently clarifying the final details, so an announcement will come soon this year. This brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for your kind introduction and the invitation to this meeting, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you.